back to the Parable Podcast. My name is Danielle Zapchenk, and I am your host. And if you love hearing people's stories and really discovering how God has weaved himself into the pieces, the places, the different spots of our story, and really allowed us to understand how he's actively working in our life. He wants to teach us new things each and every day in such a gracious and kind and loving way as a father. So if you are into that, welcome to the Parable Podcast. I'm so glad you're here. I have hosted 228 episodes of the Parable Podcast, and today is just a chance for me to chat with you and hear a little bit about what's going on in my world, and just to encourage you as you continue on this week. So a couple fun things that have been happening for our family mid-November. It was just like a quick couple of days. Edie was a part of a program called the Welcome Club at the high school, and she is 15, now 16. And it was just like if transfer students come in, foreign exchange students, and she rarely looks at her email. That's just not a part of that generation, I guess. So she came home from school one day and said, "Hey, Mom, I got an email from the teacher who's in charge of the Welcome Club. And there is this French foreign exchange student that is looking for a new place to live." And I remember her mentioning that at the beginning of the school year. She never met him. None of the classes lined up or the opportunities to show him around school or anything like that. And by reading the email, he was placed with a lady and her mother in a senior community. And so this French 16-year-old boy now goes to live in this space, and it's just not working out. And so I'm grateful that the teachers advocated for him and said, "Hey, is there anyone else that would be open to having him be a part of your family?" And so, gosh, it really just tugged at my heartstrings. I really had no hesitation, but I did encourage Edie. I'm like, let's talk to Dad, because he does bring in a little bit of the reality of hey, what do we do if this happens? Should we think about that? And so 2 days later, we had signed the application to make sure that we are legitimate and normal people, that somebody can come live with us. We did ask a lot of questions. We talked about it as a family. It was definitely a family decision. I guess I'm really proud of our kids for just being open to having somebody else share our house with us. Yeah. And I think my favorite part beforehand, we all just chose to all pray and say, God, if this is what you want it to be, then have this gentleman move in. And so within a week, we met him and his previous host mom, and it was great. And I think he is really sweet. He's been with us for 2.5 months. Yeah, I think what I've learned is to have a heart and ears that really listen, to really understand somebody, not just because of a language barrier, but just to communicate with another person and just getting to know them and understanding what they like, what is most helpful to them. We've had some really great conversations, some very funny conversations. We've learned a lot of things. I'm sure he's learned a lot of things as well. And yeah, it's just been really special. Just really understanding more a global perspective. We get so caught up in living our day to day that we don't even recognize, why do we do the things that we do? Maybe other parts of the world don't even do this at all. And then my friend Kelly had a great perspective of, it's kind of like we get to do things as a family for the first time to be able to showcase something to him. And yeah, it's just been a great opportunity so far, and just grateful for this chance. And I think if that is a possibility for other families out there, if you're thinking, I don't know, I think it would have been maybe hard if our kids were 2 or 3 years old, but at this age level, at 12 and 16, it feels really good. So that has been fun. We do have a 16-year-old driver. It's been working out pretty good. I needed pasta the other night, and I was like, God, now I have to go. But no, I got that water boiling, and by the time it was boiling, she was back with the pasta. That was fantastic. So I'm excited about that. But obviously, my parent heart too is like every time she leaves, I'm like, God, please be safe. And then Reed is about to turn 13, which is a big deal in our house. He gets a phone, which sometimes, I don't know, I could throw out phones, but that is a big deal. He's coming up with that. And then also Reed and I, we get to take a trip together this summer. We usually take our kids on a trip just with one parent when they're 12 and 16. That was our ideal setting, but things happen. And so Reed picked his when he was 13. And so we're going to go to Key West and we're going to have some fun. I'm very excited to go to a place called Dry Tortuga. It is a national park, do some snorkeling and just have a little adventure. Maybe make believe I'm a pirate for a day. What else? One thing I am excited to do is date my husband this year. Not to say I haven't dated him in the past. I think when we say, oh yeah, I want to do something or I want to actively make this choice, sometimes it's helpful for some people to put it in their calendar because I think there's an idea of wanting to do something, but actually making it happen. And that's truly with any project. And our marriage is important to us. And so we both came up with that same idea and told each other, and it was kind of humorous, but it doesn't have to be anything fancy. We've gone to a movie. We did a pasta night before the year was over, and that was super fun of just learning how to make pasta. And I would say, whether you're married or not, if you have something that you're like, I really would love to try this year, or this is something I'd love to work on, maybe make a plan, because it's one thing to say it and it's one thing to do it. So just whatever that next small step is to get you to that spot. So that is what the excitement of 2026 holds. I'm sure there's so much more. I hope for you, 2026, you've had the space and the rest to kind of think and process through what's to come, but also just be thankful that, you know, God is in this year and he's still working in your story. While there are hard things always going on in the world, that we can be mindful and loving to our neighbors and our friends and just really making the space to also spend time with him. So a couple things I wanted to bring up is there is this book. I've wanted to read it for at least a couple of years. Yes. So this book has been out since 2019. It is now 2026. Just got around to it. It is called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. And maybe most people have read it, but it has been on my to be read list for quite some time. And we're just finally getting around to it. It's by John Mark Comer. And so our Women of Westridge, our women's group at our church, has been walking through this. And I'm like, this is the time. We're going to get through it. So I just wanted to, this is literally in like chapter 1. Some of the things that stood out to me right now, Corrie ten Boom, she once said that if the devil can't make you sin, he'll make you busy. There's truth in that. Both sin and busyness have the exact same effect. They cut off your connection to God, to other people, and even your own soul. Another one was, in love are incompatible. All of my worst moments as a father, a husband, and a pastor, even as a human being, are when I'm in a hurry, late for appointment, behind on my unrealistic to-do list, trying to cram too much in the day. I ooze anger, tension, and a critical nagging, the antithesis of love. If you don't believe me, next time you're trying to get your type B wife and your 3 young, easily distracted children out of the house and you're running late, just pay attention to how you relate to them. Isn't that the truth? You don't recognize how much hurry hurts your personality, the way you communicate to others. Gosh, you just don't recognize. It seems like something so simplistic where you think, well, I'm just moving around. I'm just going to and from. And sometimes it's to good things. But when we carry all of that hurry over and over every single day, it becomes a lot. All right. And then the last one is the pathological busyness that most of us live with as our default setting. The chronic hurry we assume is normal is far more, pathological, as in the technological sort, a pathogen let loose into a mass population, resulting in disease or death. And I think that the pathological busyness really resonated with me because there's the idea of distraction or just getting things done. If I think about myself as a person, I have always added, and some things that were just like completely positive. Sometimes something someone saw in me they needed help with, which is like one of the ways I love to help people the most. It's just like, you need help? Let me after it. I think I just added and added. I think back to college, I was like working not all at the same time, but like throughout the week and throughout the parts of the month, I was working 7 different jobs. And nobody asked me to do this, but it was just like this constant need to have a running to-do list or to feel accomplished in some way. And so I know that about myself. I think that is my personality. I love doing things well, and that can be hard after a while. And I think once you have that level of hurry live in your life and around your life, in your soul for so long, that becomes normal to you. While it is not normal, that becomes normal. And that has been a real challenge to decipher. If I think about it, my mom always tells me, not in a mean way, but in a way that's just like, oh, Danielle, you're always so busy. And while that is true, I never really listened to what she was saying and to recognize, yeah, I am busy. You know, when somebody asks you, how are you doing? Everybody always says, how are you doing? I'm good. I'm just busy. I don't really want to say that anymore. I want to come up with something different, or to recognize like, hey, this has kind of been my pace of life for a very long time. And this is just a spot and a moment where I'm just like, okay, I'd like to adjust that. So after 229 episodes, I am choosing to press pause on the Parable podcast for now. I think since maybe the last year, I've felt this desire kind of going back and forth, like, this is so good, God. But do I give it up if it's something that's so good? Like, that is the tension that many of us hold. And it was a struggle because I love interviewing guests. I love connecting with people and hearing their story. And that encourages me wholeheartedly. But it's some of those mundane tasks that you just have to do, which is part of every job, that it can be a real challenge at times. And I'm just like, what am I doing? And it's almost mindless, and I'm not finding joy, or I'm not really being excited about it. And so I never want that part of it to come across into interviews or for you as a listener. In order to protect that, in order to protect myself, and just being mindful of like, how am I just filling up my calendar over and over and again? Is this the life that I truly want to live by? I've decided, yeah, it's time. We're just going to press pause, and maybe not forever. And maybe so. I don't want to just say like, oh, yeah, and we're done. Because who knows? There could be something that comes up later in life, and maybe I let go of other things and it changes. And I think for me is one, it's like that hard part of making an active choice. It kind of goes back to that thing that I told you about dating my husband. Like, we have to make an active choice, and we can wrestle with things for a while and just discerning what is God's intention for my life. How is he working? How is he talking to me on a daily basis? Am I even making the time? I think like that is a huge factor as well, of where I'm like, the to-do list gets pushed to a central point of the day, and my time with him is like, I only got 2 minutes. That kind of feels opposite, right? And so it's making that active choice of what are the things in my life that maybe I love, or maybe I feel kind of so-so about, and choosing place of stopping. Secondly, I dealt with the idea of like, oh gosh, like I feel like such a failure. No, that's my personality. That's how I always kind of go to things. And I know that that is not the truth. I know that that is of Satan. And after 228 episodes, I know that this is not a failure, but that's just where your mindset goes. And so really taking the time, if you're thinking of ending something or starting something, laying it before God, talking with trusted friends, and really getting a perspective, and just maybe next steps, or just to give yourself time to process through. Totally fine. And then I think for me too is finding space, but not choosing to replace. So I've done this before where I was actively leading a women's ministry for 12 plus years. And I said, I'm going to give my time, like I'm going to pass the baton on to somebody else. And then I found not one, but two things that I added into that. And so, yeah, because I thought like, oh, God is giving me these opportunities. So how do I discern like if these are opportunities are coming into view for me, then this must mean like I should do it. And so that is the challenge of making the space, but choosing not to replace. I do love how that like rhymes, but it's the truth. Like, how are we not replacing, but opening up, opening our souls, opening our mind just to some space? And it doesn't mean that things can't ever come back, but just being obedient. And that's really hard, right? It's really hard to be obedient to where God is leading you. So thank you so much for being a part of this journey with me. I am so grateful. I'm thankful for God for giving me these gifts of just choosing to listen to people. It's such an easy way that we can love other people, is providing space and listening, not telling them what's wrong or changing their minds. It's just about being there. It's just about hearing these stories. We walk past people every single day that have a story. And maybe that's you. Maybe that's your neighbor. Maybe that's your best friend. It's your best friend that maybe you haven't gone down deep into those spaces of your life. I would just encourage you, like, if any of these episodes have meant anything to you or helped you understand something about the world and your relationship with God, is that we get to be in community with one another, to allow grace and kindness and trust and authenticity to run free. Because sometimes our world feels like it will shame you, or it's not safe, or you don't have the opportunity to know, like, who are the people in my life that I can share these things with. But the good news is that we all have these parable stories. And then by doing that, gosh, we just make each other stronger. We encourage when we think, oh, nobody else is going to have these kinds of fears and emotions. But the reality is we do. Like, we all have these similar mindsets that when we ask people questions, when we lean in, when we listen, like, there's so much good that comes out of that. So thank you, God, that you have given me these gifts, that I was able to do that for so long, and just so thankful for that, and just being open to hearing these stories. Also, I'd love to thank my husband and my kids, who seriously constantly encourage me. I couldn't have done it without Eric. To my husband, I am just beyond thankful for you. I probably don't say it enough, but you are such an encouragement, someone that is loyal and is always a safe place for me, even when I'm like beyond tears or scared or worried. Like, you know how to step in and be that person for me. So I'm grateful that you are my husband and that you have been by my side for these last so many episodes. And so I'm so grateful. Thank you. I love you so much. Just beyond your technical abilities that made this podcast sound so good. So good, babe. I love you. And for our kids, I know they're probably not even listening to this at all, but I am grateful that they help their mom understand her giftings. They encourage me and they push me along, even when I wondered, like, is this even worth it? And they did that. And so I'm honored to listen to your stories every single day. I will help you and guide you back to Jesus as much as I possibly can. To the over 200 some people who have been guests on the Parable Podcast, who have shared their heart, shared their stories, I am just honored that you had the confidence in me and the willingness to just share with your whole heart. I am so thankful for how you showed up and shared in a way that people were able to recognize their part of their own parable story because of yours. So thank you so much for that. And for you as a listener, I probably won't even get to know, like, all the different ways that the Parable Podcast has impacted you. And so I am grateful for you choosing to listen, for you, taking the reflection questions and thinking about it for yourself and sharing episodes with friends, and your encouragement as well. It's been so beautiful, and I don't take any of this for granted. And it's been such a good run. And I know, I am confident that God is saying, well done. This is in no way a failure. We have continued to glorify his name over and over and over and over, and to say that he is just a part of people's stories in and out every single day. So I'd love to share with you as we wrap up on this 229th episode, a little blessing from the lives we actually have. It's 100 blessings from perfect days. I've used this in a couple different episodes. It's by Kate Bowler and Jessica Ritchie. And it's just so good when you're just like, I don't even know what to do right now. This is called For Beginnings and Endings. For beginnings and endings. This life is made up of so many beginnings and so many endings. We start new jobs and leave old ones. We move to new cities and leave our childhood hobbies in our parents' basement. Sorry, Mom. We become new people slowly. Hopefully kinder and funnier. Friends and relationships come and go. Dreams blossom and then they wither. And we find ourselves here once again at the precipice of change, afraid to let go and afraid of what will happen if we don't. Might this be a place of blessing too? Blessed are we standing in the hallway between closed doors and the ones still to come, between the old and the new, between the worn in and the doesn't quite fit yet, between who we were and who we might become. God, make it remotely possible to grow and change, become open to new adventures, and untethered to routine or to the same old. Because the anxiety rising up in my shoulders and filling my throat tells me I am unlikely unwilling to step forward. Blessed are we who take a minute to look over our shoulder at all we learned from what was, the people we became, the people who loved us into becoming, the peace that came with familiarity. Blessed are we who trust this timing, who open our hearts anew to change, to new friends, to hope. Nervous, maybe heavy-hearted, but brimming with gratitude for a life so beautiful that it hurts to say goodbye. Blessed are we, turning our eyes ahead toward a new path not yet mapped. God, give us courage to take this next step, and enough for that one after that too. Remind us that you have gone before and behind and around and are with us now. In our leaving, in our arriving, in our changes, expected or shocking, surprise us with who we might become. So I will say two things for, our reflection questions for this. What are, the hard parts? What are making you having to think about, is this time to press pause? Is it time to end something? Or maybe it's time to start. What would that be for you? And secondly, whatever you're doing, if you're trying to find space, make sure you are not replacing it. Be open to just being. And so I thank you so much for listening, for being a part of the Parable Podcast. It has been such a blessing to my life. I've grown in so many ways, and I am grateful. And I would say that, just goodbye for now. Stay in touch. I don't know what will come in the future, but I do want you to know and remember that your parable story matters. And that is how God consistently works in your life to grow you, to shape you, to become more like Him.
You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. You are waymaker, miracle worker. working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I can't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I can't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop, yeah. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. That is who you are. That is who you are. You're the waymaker. That is who you are. Yes, it is.